In this video, we will be going over how to use the Sportsbook optimizer and why you will remain a profitable sports bettor in the long run using this tool. Before going over this tool and all of its capabilities, there's a few talking points we should go over first so that you fully understand the hidden math behind why this works. The first talking point is about expected value and what that means and why we can take advantage of the expected value at most sportsbooks. Every single sportsbook in the world values their props differently, meaning they set a price point for a specific player prop based on what they think you should get in return when you place a bet at their sportsbook. To better understand this concept, let's take a look at an example in front of you. If you look in row 1, you can see that FanDuel is giving Keldon Johnson's player prop a specific value of plus 118 odds. This is nothing more than the price point for that specific player prop. Let's take a look. Heading over the OddsJam straight bet calculator, we can see that if we place $100 on Keldon Johnson to hit the over of 3.5 assists, we'll get $118 additional dollars in return. This, of course, is based on the value that FanDuel gave of plus 118 odds. This means if you pay for the Keldon Johnson prop at plus 118 odds of $100, you'll put in $100 and get 118 back in addition to your original buy-in, meaning that your total payout will be $218. The next question becomes, how do we know that this is an appropriate value that this player prop deserves? In other words, you should be asking yourself, should I really be putting down $100 to get $118 in return for this player prop? And I'm here to tell you that there's a very effective way to identify if these value bets are worth it by comparing to Pinnacle Sportsbook. Pinnacle Sportsbook is known for having the sharpest lines in the entire industry for many reasons. One of the first reasons is that they operate in over 200 different countries. Due to sheer betting volume alone, Pinnacle lines adjust more quickly and more efficiently than any other sportsbook by far. As of the time recording this video, FanDuel Sportsbook is only available in 16 total states and 1 country. The betting volume alone on Pinnacle greatly outweighs that on FanDuel's. Another big reason why Pinnacle is known as the sharpest sportsbook in the world is because they have a winner's welcome policy. What this means is that they allow any type of sports bettors on their site. If you are a sharp and a profitable sports bettor, you are still allowed to place bets on their site. Whereas on other books, if you are identified as a profitable sports bettor, you are subject to being banned from placing bets on that specific book. While allowing sharper bettors to utilize their book on Pinnacle, this even more increases the chances that the lines will become more sharp and adjust more efficiently. Pinnacle is also known for their extremely accurate game simulation models when setting their lines. Through a recent study and sample size of 397,935 football games, Pinnacle accurately predicted real-world outcomes of those games 99.7% of the time. If you are still not convinced that Pinnacle is the sharpest sportsbook in the world, you can head to the numerous studies on Pinnacle's website to do some research yourself. Otherwise, let's continue on. The next step in this process is to identify the value of Pinnacle's prop lines and directly compare that to other sportsbooks to identify a potential value in their line. This process involves finding out what the true percent chance Pinnacle lines value their player props at by taking the juice or vig out of their lines. Juice or vig is added to every single sportsbook line to ensure that the sportsbook remains profitable in the long term. But how do we take the vig or juice out of lines? The good news is that our Sportsbook optimizer does that for you already automatically. But if you want to do this manually, you can head to the no vig odds calculator on OddsJam. By taking out the vig or juice on the over/under line of the specific player prop, we're ensuring that we're getting the fair odds percent odds to hit. If we switch over to the no vig fair odds calculator on OddsJam, we can see that the over and under is put in on this calculator already. Pinnacle is giving Keldon Johnson implied odds of 105 to hit over 3.5 assists. They're also giving him a minus 128 implied odds percent chance to hit the under. By taking out the added juice on both sides of this line, we're getting an over percentage of 47.71%. By switching over to the Sportsbooks optimizer, we're getting that exact percent odds to hit. In this specific example, we're comparing the Pinnacle no vig odds percentage directly to the implied odds of FanDuel. If we find out that the fair odds percentage of 47.73% outweighs the implied odds probability of FanDuel giving Keldon Johnson the chance to hit the over of 3.5, then we are identifying a very good value play here on FanDuel at plus 118 odds. If we convert the implied odds of plus 118 to an exact percentage, we're getting an exact percentage of 45.87%. I only know this because I did the math quickly and already for you guys, but don't worry, the optimizer does all this hidden math for you already. By subtracting the fair odds percentage of 47.73 minus the implied odds percentage of 45.87%, we get the plus EV percentage. This plus EV percentage is 1.86%, meaning that if you place this exact same bet on FanDuel Sportsbook with the exact same scenario that we're looking at here, giving these exact odds, will come out a long-term profitable bettor of 1.86% return. To recap here, this is because we're comparing the very sharp sportsbook against the not so sharp sportsbook and identifying that plus EV value. By placing these types of bets in the long term, you will come out a profitable sports bettor. This again is under the assumption that Pinnacle Sportsbook is the sharpest sportsbook in the entire world, and that FanDuel, due to their low volume, is not as sharp. Although in this example we are just using FanDuel Sportsbook, there are also a lot of other sportsbooks you can exploit using this method.